Hey, welcome to Real Talk Web Series episode 37. I'm Todd, this is AJ.
Hello.
And we're back.
We are back.
Ready to attack with love, though,
Hey,
not with violence.
We rhyme too when we can.
Yes. So, if you don't know what Real Talk is, you're in for a treat. Maybe. What is Real Talk? Real Talk's an opportunity to just talk about life, God, the Bible, and questions you may have. Up above, you're going to see a link, www.theremnant.live/real-talk. If you click that, it's going to open up a form fillable box. You enter it in, hit submit, and your question about God, the Bible, us, our church, any of those types of things goes into a database that is completely anonymous. We couldn't find you if we tried.
Nope.
And we've tried.
We have.
But we can't find you, so that we take this opportunity to answer those questions and try to give a format that makes people feel safe and comfortable asking questions that maybe they wouldn't otherwise feel safe and comfortable doing.
Yes.
So we're 37 episodes in, or deep, as the cool kids say.
Hey.
And yeah, that's kind of it. Also at the top, you're going to see a link to donate to this ministry. We would really ask you to consider doing that. If this blesses you and you don't go, well, if you go to the Remnant too, but certainly if you don't go to our church, but this blesses you, would you take a second and maybe possibly consider donating to our ministry? Even $1 goes a long way and goes directly back into the ministry.
That's right.
So the link is www.theremnant.live/give. You can give. You'll hit a drop-down box that says go to Real Talk and submit. You can give one time. You can set up a reoccurring, whatever it is. Just know that there's no amount that's too small.
That's right.
So we would appreciate that so much because we want to keep doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we want to improve it. So we're to the point now that it's not just about improving it, but continuing to do it. You know, so just consider that. We appreciate it. Other than that, welcome.
Nice.
So typically what we do have a couple of questions today too, but we typically like to start just by sharing with you guys how we're doing. And sometimes that turns into a whole episode. We don't know where this is going.
Very true, yeah.
I don't know if we've mentioned this or if you can't already tell. This is not scripted.
Ever.
Not a single moment.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. And so we'll go ahead and get started.
Sure.
AJ, what's up, man? How's your week been?
Very interesting. If I guess the word interesting would be the best way to wrap it all up in one word if I could. So many just different things going on. You know, I know we mentioned last week we're still in the process of just getting, moving, trying to get everything, moved from one spot to the other, get the old place cleaned up, all this and that. That's been an adventure.
Yeah.
And it's been good though, good progress being made, sense of purpose in that. But then we also have other things, well, at least, I don't know, I said we, but me. I've had other things in my mind. I know before we started filming, we talked about a couple things, but I think the biggest thing, especially today, I find it interesting when every day you wake up and you start going about your day that there's always something new to be learned or there's a new lesson in life. And I guess for today, even though we're talking about an entire week, just today was the latest thing with leadership and how to be more bold. And that's something that I can actually boldness. I feel like it's been like the theme for my week. Because I know I've felt convicted for a while of, I feel like I was much more bold when I was, new in my faith. So for me, I've wanted to, get back into that because I know when I was, when I was first, claiming to be a Christian, I had that new fire that they call it, which, I don't like that because we should always be on fire, but, we have that slow fade that happens. So, I just really challenged myself and had some cool opportunities this week to go out, and just be a little more bold. And it really, and God's so cool because, I've mentioned this before, but He just knows how to love us perfectly. He knows us better than we know ourselves, and He knows exactly when we need things. And so He was just able to encourage me in times where I needed it, and through those things, He was able to encourage me, especially with the result of them, especially from the result that happened as quick as they did. It was just like, wow, I was blown away. But yeah, even today, with leadership, and just being more bold in the sense of, what leadership is and how it's not people pleasing. And so for me, coming from the background most of my life, living like a people pleaser, trying to kind of break that mold, because man, that mold is thick. That's something that's been developing since I was a child. So trying to break out of that and be the new me in the sense of being a leader and, understanding in my brain that you're not always going to make everybody happy, but then also in my heart and my actions, trying to really put that into action. So But other than that, I mean, like, it's been a good week. It's been a, someone once told me that when you're truly following God and following Christ, your life tends to be an adventure. And this week has felt like an adventure for me. So overall, it's been good.
So some context for everyone. We talked a little bit about this. The people pleasing. It's not that we want to upset people, but you're saying sometimes to love people means to make them upset in the short term.
That's right.
It means, holding them. The word accountability is such a dirty word in Christianity now, because what it's really become is more of like, I'm going to constantly shame you about doing something bad, as opposed to. So when I say this, I mean it in a good way. The sense of like just saying, hey, you're better than that, and you should be better than that, and that's what he's talking about, is like that leadership is that call to say, I want to always be leading by example, but also pushing us to go to where God wants us to go, and to do the right things, even if, because see, it's easy to do it when it's the big stuff, but it's these little things that he tells us that sometimes it's hard to challenge, because culturally in the church today, it's acceptable. It's right. Yeah, so exactly. For instance, I don't know, I'm trying to think of going to church. Like we talk about that. Sure. We've said this before. The way I like to say it is, going to church doesn't make you a Christian, but a Christian goes to church. Yes. So when it comes to that, right, it's acceptable to just miss over and over in church as long as you show up. And so, like, let's say you live radically, and you're like, when the Bible says, don't make it a habit to neglect meeting or don't neglect meeting together as is a habit of some. So we go and go, hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. Then who are you to tell me? It's that tough place. So I just want to explain that for you. What do you think when you talk about people pleasing? What's the fear, or what's the driving motivation? Maybe it's not fear that makes you want to people please.
So they'll like me, so they'll accept me, and I know for me, because people, or so I've heard, they have different ideas of why they do this, and for me, I think it's always been more of a selfish thing too, which I didn't even realize until I've been able to sit down and actually, pick it apart with you or whoever. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, for me, a lot of it was selfish, because as long as I can make them feel good by any means necessary, I would feel good. So then, if anything, I wasn't even really truly caring about those people. I was caring about myself, because I was just like, well, I'll make them happy, so then I feel good, no matter what that is. No matter what it takes to make them happy, I'll do it. And that was a really big eye-opener for me. So for me, the motivation was for me to be happy, not them. And so
even though you were pleasing to make them happy, you weren't really even doing it to make them happy. That's good. No. I mean, that's good to hear you way to put it, because I think that's probably that way for a lot of people.
Yeah, and again, that's just succumbing to our feelings and how we view ourselves and our value, and we forget that we put the standard on ourselves and how we want to feel instead of what God's standards are. Yeah. And that's tough. That's hard to break. And there's different challenges for different things, and so for me, man, it's always been a selfish motivation. And that's a tough mold to break, because even now I can still catch myself, even though I've been doing this for a while, I can still catch myself trying to slip back into those things of like, well, I just want to make everybody happy, and then in my mind I'm like, well, there's that quiet voice that's like, well, you shouldn't do that. But even then, it's still hard to break, because I think that's where my anxiety can come in too, and then you feel like you're just kind of, you're being pulled. I know I've mentioned that for a long time. I always feel like I'm being pulled in two different directions with so many different things, and that's one of them. There's that one side of me that notices something, goes, I should go do this, and there's that other side that's like, no, you shouldn't. Just let them be comfortable, and then you're comfortable too. So then everybody wins, but that's not the truth, right? So for me, it's like,
I think that's the lie.
Yep.
Well, if I make you comfortable and you make me comfortable, we all win.
Yep.
But we're all like, that's almost like using that burning building analogy we use. It's like, hey, as long as I make you feel okay about being in this burning building and you make me feel okay, who cares? Except eventually we're gonna die.
Yep. And yeah, man, it's just blind. So much blindness. And, So for me, I just want to be better at that. I want to be more bold in the sense of being a leader and making the tough decisions, setting my face like a flint, like we just discussed off camera, setting my face like a flint and just doing things that are uncomfortable, because, through discomfort comes growth. So, yeah, man. That's it. That's my journey, and that's my battle. That's one of many battles, but that's definitely one of the harder ones. That's one that I have to try to wake up every day, and I'll confess now in front of all you guys or viewers, like that's something that I struggle with. I don't wake up every day going, how can I make this better? What can I do to challenge myself and make myself uncomfortable so I can become a better leader? So, yeah.
You're supposed to ask me how mine goes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just kind of...
Otherwise, it's awkward like it just was.
I was pondering. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
do this every week. You know that, right? And then I look like...
Anyways.
One week, I didn't even say anything. We just moved on to the questions. That's true story.
hilarious.
Who am I looking? Yeah.
How was your week been?
Sorry, guys. It's not that I really care to share. It's just that's the format of the show.
It's very true.
I'm frustrated in the in interest of being real. Real talk. I will say I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm discouraged. Overall, and I'm falling into that trap that I've talked about to other people. That's so easy to fall into, where when you're discouraged, or you're frustrated, or you start to become self-protective, and then you start to see all the other things that are discouraging in your life, and before you know it, you have this massive thing, this massive room filled with stuff, and you just see all of that. And for me, it's kind of ironic. I start to see, so for instance, it may start with actual hurt. Like I'll say, man, the world is just so mean to each other. We're all so mean to each other, even in the church. And then it turns to, man, we're all so selfish. And then you start seeing selfishness everywhere and meanness everywhere. And then I see it myself, which adds to it even more, because in doing that, because I want to be selfless to the point that I don't even care if everyone else is selfish. I want to be selfless, and I want to follow Jesus. And, I never want to fall into the trap that I'm the only one following him and everybody else isn't, because we can do that sometimes. But even the smallest things, man, when you're in that space, can be added to it. You can start seeing it everywhere. So going to leadership, it isn't easy, and it's not fun. And people that know me well, or probably people that don't actually, that just kind of know me, let's say at the church, or they can say Todd's pretty bold. I would say they would say that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not, because there are areas that I make concessions. Maybe I'm more bold than this guy or this person, or maybe even a higher percentage of people, but I'm not comparing myself to them. I'm comparing myself to Jesus, and I'm not bold. And I still have moments of, when you help to lead a church, you said, okay, I got to pick my battles. I've become that guy. Like, well, I don't want to talk about the fact that, someone came up to me, Chris with a K from church, and he said, hey, Todd, instead of using Bob, you should use this name. I don't remember what it was, like Johnny McDonuts or something. So there, Chris, if you watch this, I tried to use it. I didn't remember what the name is. So, I go up to Johnny McDonuts and I say, hey, he hasn't been to church in a while. I should say something to him. Well, if I do that, then he's going to get all mad. And, Ricky, making this up, Ricky McNugget, was already mad last week, and I can't deal with two. So then you start to kind of do that, and it makes me so mad at myself, because then I start to make concessions instead of just trusting that, okay, God, you've told me that this is what it is. But Lord, if I do that, they're going to leave. Well, if they leave, then this all falls. And if this all falls, then what have you done with your life? And if you haven't done with your life, then you're here. And it's like, before you know it, I'm just living in this humanness, man, of like trying to self-protect and make sure that I keep the sandcastle up. Because that's all it is. If I try to do it on my own, it's just a sandcastle.
That's right.
And a lot of you may be going, man, he's rambling. I don't know how to just say it. It's just, I get frustrated with myself. I get sad. We're just so mean to each other. We've talked about that a lot. In Christianity and the church. And I don't want to be negative, because the church is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. The body of Christ is what it says. But also we're mean to each other. And sometimes I wonder if that's because, we don't believe what the Bible says about the way is narrow. The path is narrow that leads to life. Like, not everybody gets it. And I'm not saying I even do, although I know Jesus. It's just, I just don't get it, man. I start to get confused because I'm so frustrated and all those types of things. So it's been a rough day, and it's kind of came out of nowhere. You know, I had a couple people, one person yesterday and one person today, say, "Hey, man, this kind of led to it too. Like, something wrong. You seem off." And the first person that said, I'm like, whatever. The second person said, I'm like, okay, Lord, like 2 people in 2 different days, and I haven't been. They're like, oh, it's not that you're being a jerk. It's not that you're being mean or anything. You just seem off. And all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? Like, that's true. They're probably picking up on the fact that I'm pulling into myself a little more. I probably am a little more self-focused. You know, all those types of things. So, yeah, it's a tough day, but at the end of the day, you know, we've said this a lot of times on Real Talk. My feelings are not reality. And that's when I choose to follow and believe and be joyful and be positive. And so I don't mean to rain on your guys' parade today. I'm confessing that, but I'm going to tell you the positive. I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose to follow him, and I'm going to choose to trust him. And we prayed right before we came on, and that is my heart. My heart is, Lord, like, you know, I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to give in to that. I'm going to keep following you and keep loving and all those kinds of things. So sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have to follow and we don't feel it and trust the feelings will come later. And even if they don't, that he'll hold on to us and keep us up.
That's right.
So really blessed to be a part of this and be a part of what we're doing here. And yeah, but it's been a rough day, man. It really has. Really a rough couple of weeks, which I didn't think about. I will tell you guys this, those of you out there, if you're Christians particularly, you know, there are going to be times in life that you know you're following God and you're trying to do what he said, and you're even trying to love people, and they're going to tell you that love is hate, and it's going to discourage you. And the only thing I would encourage you to do is just remember there is truth in that Jesus loved us so well and we killed him. And he just kept doing it, you know, and he carried that cross all the way up there. And it was his love that drove him to do it, not what he was getting from people. So, hey, keep it up. That being said.
Whew. Nice. Man, every time you talk, you make me, my mind just goes, wow.
That's probably overwhelmed because my mind is a crazy place. I'm all over the place many times.
You just...
So.
No words.
All right. Well, hey, we do have a couple questions to go through, and we want to answer those. Again, if you want to ask a question or give us a topic, even, it doesn't even have to be a question. Theme could be something going on in the world you want to know our opinion on. You can go to from your phone, www.theremnant.live/real-talk, and go ahead and submit that, and we'll get to it either on our web series or even we go live on Thursdays on Facebook, so we'll do it there too. So I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
Here's the question. Where's the line between respecting what your spouse wants you to wear? Example, hey, I don't think that's the most appropriate thing. They give this versus them controlling what you wear. So where's the line between, you know, yeah, that. Typically, this is a man to a woman, right? Like, very rarely do I hear women go,
yeah,
you're not dressed appropriately to a guy, right?
Absolutely.
Other than telling him not to change his, like, cheeseburger stained shirt.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, so this is one of those things where I feel like there's a difference, and they kind of also reference this in the question, where there's a difference between preferences and then forcing somebody to literally, like, you are wearing this, you know?
Yeah, that's
so
good.
And I think that can all come across in tone. I think it's okay for people to suggest things like, hey, you know, I really like that shirt, you should wear that more often. Or it's like, no, you're wearing the freaking shirt.
Yeah, I think they're talking more about modesty.
Yeah.
So talking to, let's say you're a guy and your wife or your girlfriend is wearing something that you know, maybe, or at least in your mind, you think is inappropriate. Maybe it's cut too low, or
sure,
it slits too high, or whatever.
Okay. So even in that specific situation, I think
where's the line? I guess
exactly. I think there's a difference between. Again, I think it's from where your heart is in the moment of telling them, and how you present it. So I think it's okay to say, you know, hey, that shirt, it's a little cut, and you know, it's making it hard on me.
Well, okay, maybe it's not making it hard on you. We're talking about, like, again, you're married now, so who cares if it's hard on you?
Okay.
Do you want your wife wearing a shirt that goes all the way down to here?
Gotcha.
Do you?
Not necessarily.
Not
no.
Well. What do you mean? So we're about to have some real talk. Not necessarily, or no? You have a girlfriend now. If she walked in with a mini skirt and a shirt going all the way down to here, how would you feel?
Definitely uncomfortable.
Why?
Because everyone can see that.
Okay, that's what I want to. I want to make that clear that I don't think that's wrong that a husband may have those thoughts sometimes.
Right.
It's just where's that line? I
Okay.
guess. Which I think you were on the right thing. I just wanted to like make
Sure.
sure we answer this person's question.
So then I guess. See, I don't know.
I think you were right the first time. I do think there's definitely the heart of it is definitely a thing, but it sounds like this person. I'm just going to make an assumption here. They're the woman, and they have a spouse. They did say spouse,
Right.
who has been uncomfortable with some of the things they wear, and they're going, "Well, I don't like this. I feel like I can't wear anything. Where's the line, like that? I respect him versus him, or it could be the guy actually, possibly saying it to his wife. Either way,
I think it's.
yeah."
Oh man. Would you agree? It kind of goes like about presentation.
Sure. The first thing I think, man, I think you're right on. Even when you said that, what it made me think was, okay, in Ephesians it talks about wives submit to your husbands and respect your husbands.
Right.
As to the Lord. Husbands, love your wife as Christ loves the church. So if you're both doing that, then this isn't going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Now where it becomes tough, and this is where it's radical, okay, and I'm gonna kind of answer it with a question.
Okay.
Let's say you're both Christians. And he does tell you, and you're not comfortable, like you don't think it's inappropriate. What does it mean to respect and submit to him as Christ is to the church? Like that means sometimes he might be wrong, but your call is independent of his. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, if he was like, I'm trying to think of almost the extreme of he's abusing you have to wear sweatshirts in the summer and sweatpants.
Right. Like if she were to wear a shirt that shows a little bit of chest, and he's like, "You whore," or like crazy stuff like that.
That really jumped.
Well, I mean that's you said extreme,
Well, I wasn't even gonna go there. I meant more
gotcha.
of like, but yeah, that's valid. Like,
sure.
But again, man, I don't know, because I guess see, you and I are kind of different here. I think we err on the. I don't want my wife wearing something they see her chest. I would tell her to like, hey, maybe why would you want that?
Right.
The problem is there's no comparison for women to men very often. For them to say to us like, hey, I don't appreciate, I think because men are so visual.
Right.
I think overall, going back to that thing about, yes, if somehow you could always go and talk to your pastor and say, hey, he's making me wear, but I would tell him that first. I was like, hey, honey, can we go talk to the pastor, or can we go talk to our church leader? Can we go talk to our friend and see like if what's going on here? Because you're going too far. You only want me to wear sweatsuits.
Right.
But, I guess, let's say you're the woman here. I would say to you, like, why do you want to know where the line is? If it makes him uncomfortable what you're wearing, don't you want him to be comfortable?
That's good.
And then the other way around, if you're the husband, what's your heart? Are you just insecure because she's pretty and you want to make her look ugly because she's pretty?
That's really
Or is she really wearing something that's inappropriate? And inappropriate meaning, whatever that is.
Right.
And you have to be honest with yourself and your heart about that. So
That's good.
I think the biggest thing is both wanting and that goes back to what you said about the heart.
Right.
What's your heart in it? Either side. If you're the woman, what's your heart in wanting to not even asking this question? Is it because he is going too far? Is it because you just want to wear what you want sometimes? And guy, is it that you're worried about being too controlling? Or is it that, or you want her to change, but you really deep down you're just insecure because you got a pretty wife and you don't want anyone else even looking at her? Yeah. Which, if that's the case, you can't live in fear, right? Perfect love casts out all fear. So
absolutely.
These kind of questions, by the way, we love them, but the more detail you give us, the easier it is for us to answer. So please, if you ask those kind of general questions, could you continue to go through and maybe even give specific examples that aren't. You could change it a little bit, but it just helps us answer that more. Because, like, for us in this question, it was tough. Mm-hmm. And even telling us maybe, I'm the wife, in this case, wife, husband, that just makes it easier to know who to speak to. But I think it's a great question regardless.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and that's a part of, like, life, man. Like, that's a real-life question.
Absolutely.
Because I know for me personally, like, the more we chew on it, the more, like, okay, I'm starting to understand a little more, like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't want my girlfriend or my wife to expose herself and even give people that sort of idea, So yeah, I think it's a great question. And I think it all goes back to the heart. More details, the better.
Yeah. So we're having to use our phone today. We typically have an assistant write our cards out, but we didn't have that today. But you're up, man.
All right. Next question. I know it is not in the role of a woman to ask a man out or initiate a relationship. What if no man ever pursues a woman? Do you think that means she was called to singleness, or could that happen as a result of the choices made by men?
Well, let me start by saying culture is weird now, especially for ladies who really want to do it the right way and want to be pursued, because a lot of men have never been taught that. They're also scared because they get called creeper if they come up and ask a woman for their number or ask them show any interest. Because if the woman's not interested in them, they get called a creeper. But then they're told to initiate. So it's a scary thing, ladies. So little side note: if a man approaches you respectfully and shows interest, you don't need to tell him he's a weirdo because he showed you interest. Because now pretend for a second that you were interested in him. Wouldn't you want him to do that?
Exactly.
So let's reward men for being bold. As long as they're respectful, because certainly men cannot be.
Sure.
But I've seen men be respectful and be torn apart about it because, she just didn't like it, and so it's creepy. That being said, I think certainly men take the easy way out. We've talked about this a lot. Men want to feel safe, so a lot of times guys will try to develop an emotional connection so they feel safe to ask the person out, which isn't pursuing.
Put out feelers.
Yeah. So... do I think that you call it a singleness or it could happen as a result of choices made by men? Well, let me go back. You said, what if no man ever pursues a woman? Well, let's talk. In this case, I'm going to assume this is a personal question. You're still alive. Life's not over, so no matter how long it's been, does not mean that you're not going to be pursued.
That's good.
What I like to tell people is if you had to wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years for the man of your dreams, and for the rest of your life, you're happy and married, would that be worth waiting?
Oh, absolutely.
And the answer is yes. And it doesn't feel worth it in the moment. And guys, the same way. If you had to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years for your wife who's going to be with you for 40, would it be worth it? Absolutely. So what I tell a lot of ladies, and you know this, or guys, is don't settle. And I don't mean a list of like exact list. They need to be 6'3" with black hair and blah, blah. What I am saying is don't settle for a man that doesn't view you as worthy of being pursued.
That's good. Because
you are worthy of being pursued.
That's right.
And there are men out there. I agree they're rare nowadays. But there are men out there that will pursue you. And are there people called to singleness? Yeah, probably. I don't necessarily... I think about that a lot. The call to singleness. What does that actually mean? Does it mean that they don't have a desire? I used to think those people didn't have a desire to be married. I don't think that anymore. Because I always would go by Paul. Because Paul would say, I want everybody to be like me. And I just assume. Sometimes I think it's probably a contentment, maybe. Or being okay with it. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a cross to bear. But I wouldn't jump to the conclusion of being called to singleness just because no one's pursued you yet. Because the truth is, you want to wait. There are men that are worthy of it. And you want to wait till a man pursues you. One thing I will tell you, and I just had this talk with a friend of mine last week who was asking questions about this. How do I put this? Okay, you can't be hanging around with a bunch of hyenas waiting for a lion. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you keep getting the same type of guys that don't initiate, guys that just mess around, then maybe you're fishing in the wrong pond, and you need to change the type of men that you're spending time with.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, ladies, you're going to get the type of men that you're looking for and that you're putting yourself around. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
But. No, man, I think that's good. Just understanding that, singleness, like you said earlier, to me, that what you said really hit me. Like, that's very interesting. I don't think, like you said, I don't think the desire is not there. I think it's the idea of being content with the idea of that. And I think that's really good, man. As far as the specific situation of men not reaching out yet, like you said, don't get discouraged, be encouraged, because it's way more worthy of the wait than to just settle. I agree with that 100%.
And I promise you, men notice you. It doesn't matter. I know some ladies, a lot of the women we know in our life are single, and I don't know how many times. Or let me change that. That sounded weird. There are many women we respect a ton that we've talked about even in our church that we're like, man, that is such a good woman. And maybe she's single right now, but we say to ourselves, that girl is a solid girl.
That's right.
We see it, and men see it, and they respect it. And sometimes it's just a situation, right? Timing. And what I like to tell people too is during the wait, don't just focus on waiting for the right person, focus on being the right person.
That's so good.
For the person you're with.
Yes.
Because that's important, right? Like,
yes.
For me, like, I want to be the type of guy that is worthy of the type of woman I want.
That's so good.
You know?
I think if
and vice versa.
If everybody went about it that way, yes.
So, that being said, one other thing I'll throw out there is just kind of actual real world advice. Nowadays, it is tough to, what do you do to meet people? If you're a Christian, there's nothing wrong with using online dating, for instance, and trying that out and being wise with it. But, church and stuff. But sometimes I feel like there's a stigma against that. And I don't think in our modern society, the way there's anything wrong with that. However, you need to be wise and you need to take it as serious as anything else.
That's so good.
And not settle for, it is harder to know the type of person you're dealing with until you meet them. But I just want to take the stigma off of that a little bit.
I'm glad you did, because I 100% agree that online dating is okay. Just got to be careful.
Yep. Cool, man. I think it was good today. You got anything else?
Other than just saying thank you. Thank you guys for just putting up with our shenanigans for a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah, it's getting
look
close.
Back and see when that first one was posted.
Oh man, I think it's like November, December.
We should do a special celebration episode.
We should 1 year anniversary.
What? We should do a special. We already have a blooper reel. We should release that this week.
I agree.
This
week?
Why not?
Oh boy.
Or next week. It's pretty funny. But on top of the blooper reel, what we need to do is release the blooper reel, but also release like a montage of the last year of different clips. That takes some work, but that'd be fun.
Oh man.
Of all of them, the reel,
the live, everything.
Fun
oh man,
moments, yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd
be a blast. So, anyways, keep an eye out.
Just adding more to our already insane plate.
Yep. But yes, so thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. Without you, it's not possible, and I mean that wholeheartedly. We take time out of our lives to do this, but we don't just do it for a selfish gain. We do it for you guys because we know you guys take stuff from it, and we know that the power and the ability of what the internet has. People who are lost out there, even if it's just for 5 seconds, so they can hear some sort of encouragement, it's worth it. So with that being said, like the video, share it if it blessed you in any way, or even if it was just funny, if you found something funny about it, share it anyway. That's still positive. And we're getting positivity in people's ears, and they're hearing the truth, and that's what they need to hear. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you.
It's really good. You want to tell them about Thursday?
Yeah, sure. This Thursday, tune in for Real Talk Live. We start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you that are on the West Coast.
Hello to Australia. You heard that we have at least a person in Australia. So
that's so cool.
I'd love to get a shout out, but off the top of my head, I don't know the name. But hello.
Hello.
We know that someone from Australia at least has watched our show.
That's so cool.
Want to say hi. Anyway,
that's
go on.
Super surreal. So yes, join us this Thursday for Real Talk Live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We come on, we have guests, we do fun things, bunch of shenanigans. It's way more ridiculous than this. We have a couple of segments. We have Remnant Roulette, where you guys answer a question that Todd's been thinking of for weeks, and then
so much time for
and you can win a prize. You get put into a little raffle,
a drawing,
and a drawing. That's good. Yeah,
no, raffle's right too.
Okay,
I don't know why I said drawing.
The difference. I thought there was a difference.
There probably is, but
a lot of this happens.
I think a ticket. You have to have a ticket in the raffle. No, that's a drawing too. Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, come join us for that. You can win some cool prizes. We also do what we call Real Random, where it's been trying hot food, but it's open to anything, games, different types of foods, hot foods. I don't even know, man, just anything really.
The games one's tough because I feel like we've been given by Austin the Fun Guy, that's what we call him, these elaborate games. He's like, we haven't shown you anything, figure this out.
And we're just like,
and you guys
trying to talk to you guys. Yeah.
So foods tended to be a little more popular, at least
absolutely.
With me.
So come join us. It's fun, and then we still get some deep talks. You guys get the ability to ask us questions in real time, whether in the comment section. That's what we're looking at, and then we also have the Real Talk link that's still posted, and we check that during the live as well. So that means it's important if you guys ask us a question to watch our live and our pre-recorded, because it could be answered in either one.
Yeah, that's good.
So come join us and share it. Usually, if I remember. I tried to make a post earlier in the day about Real Talk Live. Share it on Thursday so people can know and they can join us.
Yeah, really excited. I know we keep saying this. Be patient with us, but we have a lot of media things, multimedia through our church that is going to be coming out soon. It's almost like they're all there, and we just have to push go on a lot of it. So, I think the blooper reel we could do that was actually thanks to Grant, the
film guy,
Grant the film creative guy. Anyway, but we also there's gonna be a Kickstarter going up to support Real Talk. We're hoping to get. Just really improve some things, so that'll be exciting. And then just some other things that we hope impacts people with the truth in different creative ways. So just be praying for us in that too. Other than that, guys, I'll say it one more time up the top. He mentioned you have the link, www.theremnant.life/real-talk. If you would like to donate, which we would ask you to consider, there's no amount that's too small. Please go to www.theremnant.life/give. Hit the drop-down box to Real Talk, fill out your information, and bada boom, bada bing. You just donated over here.
Hey!
So, we thank you guys so much. And if you haven't liked our page, well, first, if this video blessed you in any way, please like it and share it.
Yes.
But if you haven't liked our page, please go and take a second and go like it, The Remnant Church in Columbia City, Indiana. Hit like, follow, and see first.
Boom.
Other than that, we hope you guys have a great day, and God bless you.